wins on this one here. I think it's actually going to come down to procs here. Their boxes are so evenly matched. Both of them do have experience in SWC. Both of them have been in SWC before. Popopanda has actually been in SWC, I think, since SWC1. But of course, neither player actually having made it past a couple of rounds. So not sure if the experience actually matters much, but it's just interesting to note that Popopanda may actually be able to deal with nerves a little bit better here. We'll see.
Yep, we're definitely going to find out. And we can definitely tell Ragdoll was going to be a first pre-ban coming from Popopanda, followed up by JLN2 pre-banning out the Hathor.
Interesting note on that pre-ban on the Hathor, knowing that JLN2 has that first pick. Usually when you have that first pick, you know your opponent's taking away your Ragdoll. Maybe you want to make sure that you get that Hathor. I think we're going to see either a Fran or a Gani first pick. I think either is fine here. But if he does take that Fran, he is locking himself into a slower speed off the bat. Actually, really interesting. Respects the speed of Popopanda a lot and takes that Vanessa. I'm not sure if I agree with this one just because there's other speed leads like Ciara that are so good with additional damage artifacts that Popopanda can take to punish this and doesn't even need to take it now. He can take it later and supplement his draft with stronger picks now like a Fran Gani.
Let's see what Popopanda is going to be drafting. JLN2 with the 33 speed lead. Popopanda bringing out that Fran Ganymede.
As mentioned, that Fran Gani, very standard. Fran giving that immunity with skill 3, giving that heal with skill 2 and cleanse. Very versatile. And Gani, obviously, we all know what Gani does. It's pretty strong here. JLN2 going with that Triana Daphnis. I'm not sure about the Triana here because it's such a stationary unit and Popopanda has not shown any type of nuking unit. So at this time here, I think that Triana's a little preemptive. I think threatens both, but Popopanda going with that Okeanos and then going with that Terranese.
Yeah, bringing out the Terranese. Terranese can be a very difficult unit to be dealing with. If you have a reset out there, it'd be a little important to make sure that unit's not getting its things. Curious to see what JLN2 is going to be responding with after seeing an Okeanos Wind Druid.
And I actually really like that Okeanos pick here. Okeanos countering all 3 units of JLN2s, but I actually don't like that Terranese very much. I think it's a little passive, is not needed now. JLN2 dipping from Masha, and Masha gaining a more attack bar with this passive, but there's nothing to let it gain more attack bar now, so he's using it strictly as a Wind Bruiser, and I think as a Wind Bruiser, maybe something like a Fire Monkey would do a little bit better here, but Masha does do a lot of damage. This signals to me so far, I mean, if I'm JLN2, I'm looking to ban the Okeanos right now. That is the most disruptive unit, but Popopanda has a 5th pick, and it's going to be very impactful here.
I think the Masha surprised me as well, but just like I was saying before, Sekhmet coming into the picture here, clearly he's going to be letting this Wind Druid through, and a Water Monkey King being last picked by Popopanda, I think that's definitely going to be there and ready for a Masha or Sekhmet.
Yeah, and so if I'm JLN2, I actually think Gani is probably the strongest ban. I actually think JLN2 has too much fire on his side, making that Water Monkey such a strong pick. He is so set on needing to ban that Okeanos out, and I think in this situation, he's in a tough spot. I give this draft to Popopanda a little bit more. This is a very solid draft here. JLN2 has a little bit too much fire. I think we're going to see Gani's the strongest ban here, but again, the Water's also a fine ban because he has so much fire. Once that Gani Oki lockdown gets down, though, that could be the end for JLN2, so he needs to avoid having that happen to him.
Yep, well, there you have it. Masha getting banned. Water Monkey King getting banned, and we know a speed lead's coming out here for JLN2. Popopanda probably going with an accuracy lead, I want to say, and there you have it. Speed lead, accuracy lead, let's go. We've got our first match between JLN2 and Popopanda to kick us off in today's SWC America's Cup. And we have, sorry, not Hathor. It's a Daphnis taking first turn, looking for a Hellfire onto possibly Fran.
And that's the problem with Popopanda taking accuracy lead. The accuracy lead here allows Daphnis to go in front, but unfortunately that Daphnis misses on the Gani, so hugely lucky by Popopanda.
Yep, does not get the strip defense break onto the Ganymede. Reset came out onto the Sekhmet. Sekhmet cannot reset that Wind Druid coming.
Yeah, and also kind of unfortunate. This actually looks quite in favor of Popopanda at the moment because it's going to be quite easy to get that Okeanos Gani lockdown. JLN2 missing that defense break was absolutely huge.
Yep, Fran coming in with immunity and attack buffs here, buffing up. Sekhmet looking for a little bit of poke damage to capitalize on this Ganymede.
Gani also being quite tanky here. I mean, Popopanda, all he needs to do is stabilize with that Fran, get that Gani Oki lockdown, and it's going to be over. So, I mean, I think this really favors Popopanda's side at the moment. And all he needs to do is get that lockdown. That Gani is way too tanky at the moment.
All right, Vanessa looking to aim at some damage here on Ganymede. Ganymede still standing tall. Wind Druid looking for a, nope, goes for that 3rd skill, getting the soul protection onto Ganymede.
Yeah, and again, JLN2 doesn't really have any strips outside of that Sekhmet, right? And so that Gani Oki lockdown is starting right now.
And Fran healing up the Ganymede. Okeanos looking for some poke damage onto the Triana.
Yeah, and that Ganymede does have skill 3 and skill 2, so you're going to see once he's going to manage the attack bars here, he's going to vent the Okeanos, and luckily gets a huge proc, so he's going to be able to dump attack bars and reset, and then the Okeanos can then stun on the backswing.
Yep, Ganymede looking for the reset onto the Daphnis. We've got Wind Druid pummeling some damage into the Triana.
Yeah, and again, you're going to see this Ganyoki lockdown. It's just as impressive as Gany Hathor. I mean, JLN2 is just, again, we've seen Raigeki play this game yesterday, and this game is basically solitaire.
Yep, Ganymede going for some damage here on the Triana, trying to keep this unit down and low. Sekhmet with the attack break coming out onto the Wind Druid. Wind Druid pummeling more damage, getting additional turn onto the Triana. Wild Blow coming out, looking to remove this Triana from the field, and it does so. It's going to get revived back with the Vanessa passive.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Popopanda is just exerting a lot of control here. I mean, he's at full health here, has immunity up. There is really no response JLN2 has at the moment.
Yep, Fran getting immunity attack buffs here. Ganymede looking for possibly more poke damage onto this Triana, but goes to the Ventilate back onto the Okeanos.
Yeah, at this point, this segment needs a proc here. It does not get that proc, so he's not going to be able to reset that Okeanos. So JLN2 is going to eat another turn of full team stuns here.
Yep, Daphnis just with the first skill coming out here, trying to keep this Ganymede as low as possible. Vanessa pummeling more damage into the Ganymede. Sustain is coming back out, healing up that Ganymede tonight. Rain of Stones coming out by the Okeanos, getting a full team stun and removing the Triana from the field.
And again, as you can see, the whole team of JLN2s is down. JLN2 is taking his time thinking about how he could have drafted better. I think it's really about avoiding all these fire units. Of course, Popopanda being able to put him in that spot here because of that Shiho last pick.
Yep, Fran looking for the attack break on the Sekhmet. Just taking his time. Popopanda, taking JLN2 apart here. JLN2, like you said, taking his time, thinking about his next match. And Popopanda taking round 1 away from JLN2.
Very strong showing here by Popopanda. I think I liked JLN2's first pick, but after that, going with that Vanessa Triana, as you saw, too stationary of a pick here, very susceptible to Okeanos and control from the Ganymede. And of course, when you pick so many fire units, your opponent last picks a water unit, and you actually end up banning the water unit, you're in a lot of trouble. I actually think Gany should have been the ban because you're hoping for that Okeanos and Shiho to run out of steam and then come back. And that did not happen. Gany and Oki, too much control there, and that's exactly why you saw Popopanda basically playing solitaire while JLN2 basically joined us in the studio and watched the match with us.
Yep, there you go. So pre-bans from last time, pre-bans this game. Ganymede getting pre-banned by JLN2, and the Masha getting pre-banned by Popopanda. That's interesting to see Masha pre-banned.
That's interesting to see it, but at the same time, Popopanda can't ban out the Ragdoll. Wants to take out Masha. Could be because Popopanda might not have a Masha. We're not sure. But at the same time, if a Masha's on Swift and Popopanda does not have a Swift, does not have Will on a Swift unit, it could be impactful in the draft.
Yep, it could be. Vanessa Fran coming in for JLN2. Popopanda with first pick on the Hathor. What is he going to do after seeing that Vanessa Fran coming out?
And I think JLN2 is actually relying on the Vanessa a little bit too much here, taking it early into the Hathor. I would have liked to see maybe a Fran and maybe an Okeanos here. Popopanda's going to go into Savannah. You're going to see a Chiwu coming out later. Does not need to take that now because JLN2 has already committed a speed lead to the board, and that's the weakness of taking Vanessa early.
Well, Savannah Vigor coming out for Popopanda. JLN2 looking to respond.
And I think Vigor's an okay player. I really like that Savannah. It does put his draft face up on the table, and that's why he laid the Vigor down here, because JLN2's common response would be some sort of a Ragdoll and some sort of a Wind Monkey here. Instead, again, goes with that Triana. I'm not sure about Triana in this situation because there is no single target nuker from Popopanda's side, and again, it's kind of stationary team here.
I'm looking at a very strange draft coming out of JLN2. It just looks like protect the LD is kind of what he's going for right now. Vanessa Triana Fran, he's got the sustain, and then he's bringing out Ragdoll.
And another thing to think about is if Popopanda has res lead, it's very hard for Vanessa to sink in defense break, and JLN2, if he's going to intend to win here, needs to get a defense break with attacks on the Ragdoll. So he's lacking a lot of offense. Popopanda going with the perfect counter pick of Vertihile, because Vertihile is really, really strong into Vanessa Triana Fran, which just kind of sit there and do nothing. So at this point, Popopanda can ban the Ragdoll or can just ban the 5th unit. Really doesn't matter. he's really far ahead in the draft here. I would like to see an Okeanos coming from JLN2 to be able to disrupt Popopanda's entire team, but that would be a force ban, which is exactly what a 5th pick is supposed to be.
Well, like you said, JLN2 is a very stationary draft at Verti looking powerful on Popopanda's side of the field. JLN2 is going to wrap up his draft with an Elucia.
Yeah, and again, Popopanda's draft is so far ahead that, again, that once you have your 5 units down and you gridlock your opponent, you can just ban out the last unit. JLN2 has quite a stationary team here, but if he can get a defense break and a nuke from the Ragdoll, he could potentially sneak out a kill on a unit.
Yep, exactly. Well, here we go, guys. Popopanda, JLN2. We're going into match round 2. Here we go. Fran taking first turn for JLN2, getting the immunity and attack buffs up, getting additional turn, possibly going to get the attack bar pushed back onto the Verti, but even chancing a revenge.
Yeah, at this point here, this Fran's just here for chip damage, and JLN2 really needs to focus on keeping those immunity ups. Popopanda is going to be patient. That's actually quite a squishy Savannah here, or a very hard-hitting Triana.
Yeah, might be a very hard-hitting Triana, but we're going to find out. Savannah looking to pummel more damage into this Fran.
That's quite a tanky Fran there. You see that even though it procced, Fran still has over half health.
There's that defense break. Vanessa capitalizing on it as well. And it looks like JLN2 is going to be very quick to dropping this Savannah. There it is.
That's a big drop there, but at the same time, Tyrannese does have skill 3, so Popopanda's going to be able to bring that Savannah out, and it comes back out on the Beast.
Ooh, 3-turn defense break sitting on top of Fran with the additional turn coming out by that Vigor, and it looks like Verti is going to be pounding right through this Triana passive. It does not pound through.
Big miss on that. Not sure if he calculated that correctly, but again, I think Popopanda's going to be able to reset. Vigor's going to be able to provide heals. Vertihal's going to be able to give attack bars to the entire team, and Popopanda's just looking for his opening and taking down the squishy unit, which is Fran.
Yep, you can see that revive coming out on the Savannah. So strong with Beast Riders because it is back on the Beast.
Yeah, and again, that defense break, 3-turn defense break is quite huge here. That Vertihile is going to give a lot more turns to Popopanda's team, and he's going to have a lot of shots to go on this Fran.
Yep, JLN2 back working onto that Beast Rider, trying to remove it from the Beast. And you can see Savannah going with that great AoE, getting the defense breaks on everybody. Drops that Fran. Fran revives back with the Vanessa passive.
Yeah, but if you look at the attack bars of JLN2's side, he's got units that are going to go way after Popopanda's. Popopanda's going to be able to tee off on this Fran, and this Fran is going to drop. There's nothing JLN2 can do about it.
Well, it was a good sleep on the Wind Druid. It's just not going to be enough right now. Vega coming to get the HP block on top of Fran, getting the additional turn with a second skill coming out here. Verti looking to burn through this Fran. Doesn't do it, but Savannah's going to finish off the job.
Yeah, and again, this is a lot of damage coming out. Goes after the Vanessa here, waiting to take out Ragdoll later because Ragdoll does have that skill 2. Torrent does not want to risk being blown up off the bat. But again, Popopanda's just going to cycle turns over and over. Does get a lot of procs on his Vigor. Not much JLN2 can do here.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very stationary draft that JLN2 had, and Popopanda able to get so many turns with that Verti super fast units. Vigor with the additional turn. Savannah pummeling so much damage, and we've got Verti right here pushing up those attack bars, trying to drop the Vanessa, and Savannah once again finishes off the job.
Again, JLN2 down to 2 units. If I were him, it's highly unfortunate. There's not much you can do here. You're just hoping for procs every single turn. But again, with so much attack bar being gained from that Vertihile, that Wind Druid's going to have revive up again really soon too.
That is correct. Verti looking to focus out this Triana. Savannah doing the exact same thing. Once the Triana is gone, this is going to be it.
Yeah, again, JLN2 has kind of actually taken maybe a third of the turns that Popopanda has taken. It's almost like last match where Popopanda is playing solitaire. It's just the fact that JLN2 actually does get to make a few moves here.
Yep, Popopanda still trying to get rid of this Triana. Triana still holding on. Ragdoll looking to maybe drop this Savannah, but we know that Revive's going to come back again with the Wind Druid. Chooses to go after the Verti. Revenge is boosting up more attack by, and you can see he's going to continue going after that Verti.
Yeah, I mean, this game is over here. JLN2 should be able to look for that button on the left, that gear button, and go quit battle because this is pretty over. It is a 2-0. Popopanda did draft quite intelligently here. So at this point, if I were JLN2, I'd regather myself and think about next week. Even with this skill 2 torrent, it is over. So highly unfortunate for JLN2, but I think if he can regroup himself next week, he's got a chance.
I'm glad we were able to at least see the torrent. 70k damage. It's a strong one, but it's not going to be enough. Popopanda taking round 2, the 2-0 against JLN2.
I mean, what a game there. I think Popopanda actually drafted quite well. Really watched for what his opponent drafted and picked the perfect counters and set up his team later, where he didn't actually take the Chiwu. He didn't need to take the Chiwu because he knew there's a Ragdoll left and was actually not scared of that Ragdoll. Degon, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like preparation meets practice, and that's the result that we see here with Popopanda. And it felt like he was so ready for the Ragdoll to come in. You know, basically any unit, any person that has a Ragdoll, you know that's probably something that's going to get banned out. And then in game 2, had the draft prepared for that using the speed lead. So talk to me a little bit more about the speed lead and why JLN2 wasn't prepared for that.
Well, I think that JLN2 laid down his speed lead